Chapter 10: The Inevitable Progression of Power. Regardless how this crisis will be handled under our present system, hunger, famine, unemployment, poverty and disease will soon emerge as the lot of that percentage of the population at the bottom of the heap. According to the what-if theory, this progression is inevitable. All men are not born equal, and the progression of power has no regard for the weak and ensures conflict among the most powerful. A growing world population, mostly in poverty areas, may for some demand a world response, but the reality under our present system means widespread hunger and anarchy, even in richer nations, leading to more resource wars, rebellions and terrorism. These things will produce a very negative scenario, but in reality the real power centres won't care. Based on present-day scenarios, the world's power divide in America, China, Islam, Europe, Russia and Israel, where despite being ignored by science, the God of the book still provides window dressing to conceal the real power, lust in the hearts of men. The realization of this international power struggle ultimately will rest with those who will master the ultimate weapon. We will move away from nuclear solutions because a destroyed world would profit no one except some fanatical fundamentalists. So a new power weapon will emerge whose source is already evident. When intelligent, evolved humans, as is crafted tool, the ideal solution would have been for all humans to be more or less joined in a similar mindset like automatons. But this did not happen. The evolution of man based on survival of the fittest demanded individual choice, as a programmed servant for that intelligent force had to wait for humans to invent and build what intelligence wanted in the first place. We've built the age of the computer and the civilization of the machine. Instead of a worldwide population acting in unison, we now have a worldwide computer network, a web that is gorging itself on the intelligent gifts of the world. We have built a worldwide brain ripe for manipulation and control. It is an intelligent repository of enormous power, providing education, relaxation, mental and physical manipulation, brainwashing, and unlimited power to those who will ultimately control it, or those it will ultimately control. The computerization that gave it birth has also given us the age of the machine. The Industrial Revolution caused great hardship as it moved from an agrarian society to a mechanical, but it also brought great change and advancement to mankind in the area of food production, medicine, education of the poor, which was necessary in the new environment, and a subsequent rise in living standards and health, as well as great demand for product and conditions. All of this advancement was matched by advances in social conditions, human rights and class. The computer age poses a different scenario. Until now, the humans ruled the machines. Computers, however, are 1,000,000 times smarter than humans, and their linkage in a World Wide Web is steadily evolving a new paradigm. Society is now moving to serve and service the machines, not the other way around. And the intelligence of the machines is impersonal, and the power they will generate is also impersonal. In the business world, the corporations evolved to minimize personal responsibility for owners, but there is still human contact that is based on the material and spirit non-human persona. However, with computers, there is no spiritual component involved, only the stark mathematics and algorithms that will serve to remove social consideration from the decision process. The logical power progression of this scenario means that our World Wide Web, or brain, will become the battleground of large corporations with success and failure instantaneous on a 24/7 basis, and a continuous concentration of power, money, national, corporate, and personal, will disappear, replaced by credits, serving as another avenue of public control on a visible basis for poverty. In reality, this will be a world that governments, as we know them, will have lost control. That will belong to those people and corporations with the best computer skills. Because our world is so rapidly changing, the computer and machine domination, the technicians that run them, will provide a new class of elite and rich. But the rise will mirror the loss of jobs their technology will cause. People will still need food and water and housing, but the computers only need service and energy. So those who control the service and the energy, and thus the worldwide brain, will rule. A war carried out without nuclear threat, but energy threat. Everything from streetlights to satellite control systems dependent on the computer, and as such, a new type of terrorism will emerge. A world of immense power that theoretically could be brought down by a 14-year-old in a back shed with the correct algorithm. Trying to look logically at the emerging computer world is a different task that will require much responsible study. Everything is starting to evolve at an increasing frantic pace. Already we have the emerging computerized transport aircraft and drones of war, a scenario that has left human planning, law and government behind. The very obvious result is the unemployment factor, as whole areas of employment disappear in a world of finite resources and a growing population. This is a scenario where, if we continue to live according to our endemic power inheritance and survival of the fittest, only chaos and ruthless power can rule. Trying to prevent this will cause a transformation of personality, social living practice, and corporate and government ethics. Over the last 20 years under globalization, we have seen a large percentage of manufacture being moved from developed nations to poor nations, reaping the profits from poverty in those nations. This may have helped a little bit in those poor nations, but the business plan was not to provide employment, but to increase corporate profits. Lately, however, pressure in developed nations on these large corporate entities to improve conditions and wages for their employees will soon force a rethink of that practice. This rethink will be brought about by robotic advancement and computerization. Manufacture will be moved back to the advanced nations, but not to increase employment. A lot of service goods, clothing, cars and machinery will be provided by specifically designed factories, ensuring robotic manufacture, controlled and operated by the new power elite, the technician and computer wizards. This means that unemployment will become endemic in rich nations as well as in poor ones, and corporate power will grow over both people and governments. That power will grow and contract. All these things will grow out of computerization and the uncontrolled power of the internal web. Modifying and preventing this calls for introduction to the web of human philosophy. It must be used to teach and engender peace and love instead of war and power. Regardless of its corruption, religion has had a great effect in moderating power abuse in our society. So something along the same lines must be introduced to the web. Its World Wide Web needs modification to reflect the wishes and values of people. The government must resist and modify what is not good for their nations. In other words, the web must be controlled by the needs and wishes of people, not the impersonal needs of robots. Some of the thoughts may seem far-fetched and alarmist, but consider the increasing frantic pace of the computer age. The computer brain that we are building will have nearly unlimited power by assessing the infinite cosmic intelligence that is driving it. It is moving towards the time when a computer can produce a computer without human help. And when that happens, the age of man will have ended. So it befalls us not to allow this to happen. Computers, as I have observed, are a million times smarter than humans, but as yet we do have control. The potential for good as opposed to power is limitless. Planning for human advancement in resources, health, food production, re-evaluation of lifestyle, all there at the touch of a button, as well as all the negative, but we have to overcome the power syndrome to make that work. And that could be aided by the understanding of the what-if factor and the recognition of the basis of our cosmos as energy, matter, time, space, spirit, and intelligence. If we can come to recognize this, we can choose our outcomes. This view of computerized world possibly deserves to be treated with skepticism, but it is estimated the human brain contains 123 million synapses, and a computer to replicate it would require the output of a nuclear power generator to start it. How many synapses would the brain of the World Wide Web encompass, not with a nuclear generator, but with 3 feeds a day and a drink of water?